Happy Mental Health Awareness Month. I am Dr. Nkenji Clarke, and this year I'm honored to share several mental health tips for you, an NBCC network, and beyond. I often use the wellness wheel from the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration to discuss with my clients the importance of balance and well-being in multiple areas of their lives. And usually when using this tool, we're able to look at where the energy is increased, where it's decreased. And in the end, we can create goals that help to manage homeostasis. So today I'm going to share with you each wellness dimension and one strategy that may be helpful that hopefully you could take for you and yourself, and maybe even share with a friend or two. With the physical well-being dimension, it's extremely important to lean into the strategy of quality sleep. So when we think about sleep, it really impacts our mental health. And so it's important to have a routine. Routines are really important, and it allows your own sense of stability, right? And also sense of ease. And so do you have a routine when you're winding down and going to sleep? Do you have a routine when you're waking up and starting a new day? Really looking at perhaps how much does electronics and screen time play into that, food, worries, stress, and things of that nature. When we think about our emotional and mental well-being dimension, lean into counseling. We're counselors and we pour into people all the time. However, a good counselor has their own counselor, and that's what we learn in training, because it is an ethical responsibility to manage our own well-being. When we think about the intellectual well-being dimension, really leaning into social justice awareness, that really helps us to stretch into our cognitive and critical thinking skills. And overall, we want to be a lifelong learner. Right? We are never at the space where we are an expert on everything, even if we're deemed an expert in this field. We want to make sure we're always growing. And then through this process of social justice awareness, you're able to read, you're able to write, and maybe engage in a new hobby that accompanies this passion that you have. For the spiritual and well-being dimension, it's really important to lean into mindfulness, right? That allows you to connect back to your sense of self, sense of purpose, sense of meaning of life, and sense of even wonder. And this can include deep breaths that help you to ground yourself, yoga, stretching, prayer, meditation. All of these things really encompass that spiritual dimension. Environmental well-being dimension, let's lean into the strategy of cleaning up our spaces, whether that's our professional space, whether that's our personal space, but truly cleaning your room, cleaning your office, cleaning your desk. That really makes a difference because it shapes how we engage with the world, how we live, how we work, how we play. And you want your physical space to be clean and clear. When we think about the social well-being dimension, really leaning into the strategy of connecting with our loved ones. Everything cannot be about work, and everything cannot be about you in isolation. We must restore and pour into those who we call community, who we call friend, who we call family, and have healthy boundaries with them as well. When we think about our occupational well-being dimension, we want to think about workplace wellness, right? Are you psychologically safe in the space that you work in? Also, do you have work boundaries? Are you working every evening or every weekend? Where's the balance in that? So you want to make sure not only are you safe, but also are you having fulfillment in this thing you call a job or a career? And last but not least, when we think about our financial well-being, we really want to lean into setting a budget as a strategy, right? In this area, that may be more disciplined, more motivated to understand what's coming in, what's coming out, and what are our future goals. And this may include a tough conversation with our boss to make sure that we're getting what we deserve when it comes to income, and or exploring other options that may bring in other additional income. Thank you for listening to these strategies, and I hope that you're able to implement at least one, especially when you look at your wellness wheel, so to speak, and see what needs to be increased, what needs to be boosted. You're able to implement at least one of these strategies, not only in the month of May, but for the rest of the year. Take care.